Good morning. Today we're going to discuss Zilliqa and Elrond. And why are we going to discuss those? Because we're going to release some interviews in the coming weeks. But before that, don't forget to subscribe beneath here or like the video. That's helping me a lot to grow my audience. Why are we going to discuss Zilliqa and Elrond? I just said it. In the next weeks, we're going to release interviews as I want to improve my YouTube content with some more wider content in general. And that's why we're implementing those videos to the YouTube channel. I'm assuming that Elrond is going to be the first. When we're going to release, still debatable, but most likely it's going to be on Wednesday or Thursday. But what is happening on the price action of those two projects? And as I said earlier, we're in a relative boring phase right now in which the market is not doing too much, just retesting levels before it's heating up for the next wave. So that's also what we're seeing on Zilliqa here, in which we can say that we've got a very big, massive move upwards, but it's just a beautiful copy-paste of the initial move that we've had in December of 2020. So what do we see in this entire run? We do see beautiful support resistance flips generating bullish momentum, after which a retest has been done on the lower level, in which we can mark this entire block here as a support zone, after which a test has happened, sideways action, continuation of flipping this level at 6 cents for support, triggered another impulse wave. You can use target measurements through Fibonacci. There you get this 13 cent level. If you do it to the low of the recent cycle, we get to the 1.618 Fibonacci level. So then what is happening on Zilliqa right now? We can see that we had another impulse wave with a short bounce on this block. However, that could not provide support in the entire market corrective move, in which we see a test of this green zone here. So we can mark this green zone as a very interesting level to take an entry. Therefore, this is the green zone that I'm really looking at right now. On the daily time frame, we also have that level that we discussed previously, which is also this previous high. That's the second level, quite comparable with this level at 6 cents. So before we continue to watch on the lower time frames, we can also start discussing what the potential is of the next run. So again, we're going to use the 1.618 Fibonacci level, in which we take the recent low, recent high, and then we can determine the next target zone, which is 23 cents. And even if we get a bigger impulse wave, 34 cents could be next as well. However, what's happening on the short time frame? Well, one of the things that we can start discussing is that we can see that the overall volume is draining down, given that the momentum has been shifting. One of the things that we can see is that this entire breaker here is generating resistance at this stage. So what we can see is that during this entire period here, it's a little bit wiki, but it generated support, in which we currently can see that we are rejecting at resistance. Next to that, we also have this breaker that we initially broke through, right? So we got this breaker, which is basically the range high. We tried to break above, failed to do so, and now we're back in the range. So this entire region around 12.1 cents has become new resistance right now. If that becomes, or it stays resistance, very likely that we're going to test any of these two levels for some more sideways action, and then we get something like this. So at this stage, the critical areas for Zilliqa are found here. Next to that is that we're just in a very sideways corrective period, in which not much is happening to the market in general. So those levels we have to watch on Zilliqa before it can start running to 33 cents. Zilliqa against Bitcoin, I've got a nice painting on this chart, in which we see that we're making another sort of wedge structure like we did previously. We can't break above 350 sats yet, so we're looking for compression. But the overall view that we have is that we are making higher highs, we are making higher lows, through which this compression period that we see here is most likely going to trigger a new impulse wave towards this region around 500 sats and possibly even 800 sats, and then we get to the same targets that we have discussed previously. So this is a very boring and strange chart. Levels are still the same, nothing to say more on the Bitcoin chart. Then we've got EGLD, in which EGLD is also constructing a similar phase right now as what we witnessed on Zilliqa previously. So what can we see? Massive run upwards. In such a massive run upwards, you don't really want to chase the trade. You're looking for levels of confluence to take the entry on. Just like we see this flip here, if it starts to run, you're looking for this flip, then a consolidation which grants another flip. In this entire region on the daily time frame, you don't really see any entry point at all. So then you're going to construct the levels on the daily time frame as well, which generates this green zone around $60 as a general consensus. And then we've got the 4 hour, which also gives you another entry zone, which is this area around $90. Right? So these two zones are very critical to see for potential entry points. And now we are currently facing resistance, as in this period support, or like this area held support at 160, became resistance afterwards, and currently is acting as resistance again. Next to that, we've got the same copy. We do have this breaker that we try to break above, but we're sustainably failing to do so, which shows weakness. What is currently the critical area for Elrond to hold? That's this green zone. Around, what is this, 135 to 140, that has to hold. If we get another run up and another fake out, it seems very likely that we're getting a breakdown in which we're going to test any of these regions before we see continuation. So these two zones are very interesting for me to watch for potential entry points on EGLD. The breaker on the upside is definitely the 160 barrier. The breaker on the downside is this area between 133 to 139. If any of these two break, we are seeing a new impulse wave. On the downside, it will probably be very fast towards this region, but then you want to scoop in some entries based on the daily time frame as well, swing trades, etc. Right now it's just more day trade and scalp trade momentum. What do we see on the Bitcoin pair? It's a very well, let's say I've made a lot of stuff on this chart. Here we had a bullish divergence, after which we flipped the level at 700 sats for continuation. Massive breaker to the upside, generating this target zone at 1618. Got there, breakdown as well. And now we're looking at a support zone, as we can see in that green area. And I'll just get a new chart going. Similar importance is here that you're looking for confluence for support based on historical price action. Just like we see it here, we want to see it here as well. So we got all the way back towards this green zone, generates a massive support area. We also have this next level, a support at 11,900. It's like lower on Binance, as OKX is using additional ones, but okay. So what can we see on the 4 hour or on the daily? We can see that this is a very nice breaker that we have to watch. But if we look at the 4 hour time frame, we can see that we're currently in resistance zone, as this has constantly been breaking downwards. Like, those levels are very important. So what can we say? If this breaks, I'm assuming we're going to test anything in this region. If this fails again, then we've got this breaker that most likely starts to fail as well. And then I'm assuming that we get another downwards drop to anything in this region. So that is the technical view that we have on Elrond and Zilliqa. As a conclusion, I still believe that altcoins do not have the period yet. It's an accumulation period. It's a boring period where there's negativity about the markets as well. Nothing to worry, just a regular correction. And if those corrections last for a few weeks more, it grants you massive opportunities. So just take it easy, stay calm, hodl gang, and have a wonderful weekend. And enjoy life. See you next time tomorrow with a new video, which is going to be about Atom.